Okay, sorry for that delay. I had to set up the comments section so I could actually see what people were asking if they were asking anything. First off, apologies for yesterday's stream. I didn't have the audio on, so nobody could hear what I was saying. It was an hour of me talking to myself basically, so that kind of sucked. I had a lot of good things to say too. This is Slice, Dice, and Rice, a game by Dojo Games, published by Arc System Works. It is a gimmick fighter, as I stated in my review. It has a gimmick to it. Some say it is sort of like Bushido Blade, and that it is a game where you look for openings to punish, and it's got a wound system that kind of cripples the opponent or, instantly kills them. Like if you land a hit that hits more than, once. I compare it to rock, paper, scissors in a way because, like, an overhead's going to trump and, less. It's just going to outdo a vertical. No, I mean a horizontal slice. Vertical's going to outdo a horizontal and vice versa and all that stuff. It is a 4-button fighter, for those of you curious. It has a vertical melee, a horizontal melee, which is overhead. What am I saying? I'm getting all goofed up here. It has a vertical, which is the overhead, and it has the horizontal, which is the I don't know. Anyways, vertical, horizontal, and heavy attacks, plus a parry button, which is assigned to X. You can change the controls via options and set it up the way you want your buttons to be. I suggest sticking with the way they are. It works efficiently enough. Very, very good setup to begin with. So I wouldn't tamper with it unless you really, really just wanted to maybe assign things to the trigger buttons or something. I don't know. Shoulder buttons. The game has a story mode, a ladder type story mode, in which you go through a series of matches against the assortment of characters. The story is after each fight, which is based on 4 rounds. Basically, you gotta kill the opponent each round, which can be done quickly, like almost instantly, as I said, or through a series of wounds. Just single attacks, and then you'll get like a story, like a textual story, giving the characters backgrounds regarding their search for the divine rice. You'll get that. You'll get the sort of sub boss battles with the Yama and the yokai versions of certain characters. The yokai serve as a mirror match sub boss fight. Yama are stronger characters that take a little bit more to kill. And then you'll have a final boss fight. You'll have a fight against the guy the monk who guards the rice, and then you'll have a final boss fight in the story, and you'll get a congratulations screen or whatever. In some of the fights that are pivotal, there will be comic book style bubbles with brief dialogue exchanged between the characters. There's that. Get into the story here and stop blabbering on without showing you, but basically you got these character playthroughs. You start off with only the first character unlocked, and as you beat his story, you unlock the next in line, and then the next, and each character has their own unique little story. And we'll just do first characters to give you an example of what it's like. But basically, it goes as acts, and they give a breakdown of what the story's fight is for. This guy, he was cast to hell or whatever, and so he's trying to fight his way to power, or fight his way out, or whatever. And it unfolds through fights, as you're gonna see. Gotta click past that. I keep on forgetting. I gotta press X to get past that screen. fights consist of 4 rounds, and you're going to see there is no blocking. You cannot block. You can parry. You've got vertical, horizontal. He's beating the heck out of me here. I'm rusty as hell. But I parried that. I swear I did. I parried that crap. But yeah, you definitely got to be on your toes. I got to set to normal. I forgot I upgraded the difficulty. That is another thing. You can set it from easy to hard. I think there's only 3 difficulty settings. Each one of them changes the AI to be more aggressive. And as you can see, I'm a bit rusty here. But yeah, the fights can get pretty intense. You can do dashes. You can do. What am I trying to say? You can do cancels. You can actually cancel out attacks. You can cancel out attacks with the parry button or with the dash button. You can do aerial attacks with the overhead or the with the vertical or the horizontal attacks. You can do that. The indicators you see on the screen, which you will see, the little kanji or the Japanese script or whatever it is, it's an indicator to sort of give you a hint of when to attack, when the player's vulnerable or when not. See, when I parried, it lit up white. It showed I performed an action. And also another indicator is the circles that light up around the character's head, like mine just did. It shows that I pressed the button. It sort of lets you know when there's an opening, when you should strike, when you should actually play more cautiously or whatever. But yeah, that goes back to the Bushido blade formula, as it were. And I am having. And you got little fatalities. The fatalities can be performed each round. They're not limited to one round to the end round. I should say they're little extra thing thrown in there, along with the bloody effects. I'm not getting anywhere with this. I apologize. Like, I was doing better with this character earlier, but like I am so slow today for some reason. Slow to react, but this is a very highly reactionary game. You gotta time the parries just right. You gotta just, everything's gotta be on point. The fights are very tense. You gotta know when to go high, low, or whatever. Indicators help some, but I would say not to rely too heavily on them. I would say watch the character's animations. That's usually a giveaway, as it is with any fighter. Paying attention to the indicators or whatever outside of the rings is not gonna get you anywhere. More than often, it's gonna leave you open a little bit. So I finally beat him. The characters vary. They seem to be loosely based on Japanese or Asian folklore. Monkey King, of course, that's and each character, as you can see, has different attack style, different weapon with different range. And knowing the characters' attacks and how to counter them and deal with them, or how to use them, is half the battle, as it were. I pressed forward too much and got punished for it. This is very much a game about punishing. It is finding the opening, punishing the opportunity, when someone slips up and whiffs or whatever. And you definitely got to time your parries just right. It's got to be on impact. The game, I wouldn't say it's one of the fastest fighters. It's got slowdowns in animation when the attacks are going out. It kind of adds, as you can see. Oh man, I am getting punished hard by this dude. But as you can see, the matches can go by very quickly if both players aren't playing on the same level of skill. I'd say skill. It does take some skill, but it also takes. I can imagine like two pro players in this would probably make for some interesting matches. I don't know. See, sometimes the animations, they look like they hit, but they definitely do not connect. So that's kind of an issue of mine. I've had that held down parry for it. Didn't help me out there. Just characters are definitely unique. This guy, Monkey King's got the ranged bow staff thing. There's another character, a female character with a large heavy sword that actually has invincibility on strike, who can actually swing her sword, and even though the other player is attacking through that sword, it will block the damage. So it's definitely about knowing the characters and being able to read them properly. Read the indicators, read the figure things out, and be quick on your I anticipated him swinging faster than that, but he didn't. Oh man, I lost that one by one round. But but other than the story mode, which is definitely offline, you get like local play. And you get like you can spectate computer versus computer match, or you can do a player versus computer. I would say, since the online isn't populated by a lot of people. In fact, I couldn't find a match the other day. I'd say unless you have a local, unless you have people to play locally, or you're going in a tournament or practicing for a tournament or something, I'd say this would be a pass at the $17.99, because, like, to me, a gamer who relies on the online for the multiplayer part of it, like, I mean, I don't like playing against a computer, just repeating that over and over, and it just doesn't make for as much fun when you're not playing against an actual person, and I don't have the local scene to count on. So it is Not worth it for a person like me, someone who has local scene to tend to and can play locally. You know, it would be alright, I think. Uh, but if you are banking on the online multiplayer, it's pretty much a ghost town at this point. The game's not bad at base level. It tries to do something different. Not different, I would say more different than what's being sold these days in the guise of like the anime fighters. And the Street Fighter and King of Fighters type games. Um, I'd say it's trying to revive something that didn't work out all too well. In the guise of, you know, people liked Bushido Blade. They liked it was different and stuff back in the day, but no one's ever really tried that formula again. And you know, Dojo Games is trying to revive that type of game with this, and it's ambitious. I think it's pretty cool. It's definitely translates okay for a 2D fighter experience. Like Bushido Blade, I remember it being like 3D fighter, if I remember correctly. And this is 2D. The way they handled it, simple mechanics. You got your dashes, you got your you know, feints, the cancels, the parry mechanic. You got the thing to make it less of a guessing game with the indicators. I should have parried right there, to be honest. But it definitely tries to. I still can't figure out how he does that finisher. Like, I don't think there's any special attacks in this game, but obviously that guy just did something that was kind of like a finisher or something. So I don't know how that works. I was not able to figure that out. But gameplay wise, I'd say this is all right. You know, it's basic. It's basic and build. It's one of those easy to pick up, hard to master type games. And depending on character skill level, I mean not character, player skill level, you're gonna either dominate or you're gonna be being taught a lesson in humility, or you're gonna have a clash match. Basically, you're gonna back and forth parries, reading each other like a book. I went right into that like an idiot. Oh, and the heavy comes, you know, obviously heavy comes out slower than the vertical and horizontal attacks. Vertical is square, horizontal is triangle, heavy is circle, and parry is X. So yeah, that's the control layout basically. You can use the D-pad, which I use. I don't know if you can actually test out the thumbstick here, right here, and see if it works too. But it'll be and I think it'd be easier to do the D-pad because it seems more responsive to me. Let's see. Gotta go. You can actually skip the dialogue. I keep on forgetting. You can press the circle button. Yeah, so you can actually use the thumbstick, but it is not good. D-pad is definitely the way to go for this fighter here. It's the art style is cell shaded, sort of like a comic book type look to it. Stages are brilliant. I mean, they look amazing. Layers. Looks like you're going way into the background with them. They did a good job on the animation, the art style. It's fitting of the the thing that they went with. And you've got a few different stages. She stayed on top of me, but like you can see, she's got the hook blades, and reminds me of Cabal's weapons. She is doing a number on me too. But anyway, each character moves differently, plays differently. Man, yeah, I've done a lot of losing during this stream, but man, if you get good at it, kudos to you, man. But it is very tense, and very quick rounds. It is a gimmick fighter, like I said, and definitely got its gimmick going on. And one thing I'd suggest is if you try to jump over the character and try to block afterwards, it's usually not going to work. The slowdown does not allow for a parry afterwards. So definitely do not try to jump over and try to counter him that way. If you're going to do an overhead like vertical slash, then yeah, you can try for that, but don't jump over him and expect to be able to parry or anything. She's more tricky than I remember, and I can't even usually, like, I would say the indicators, even though I'm not even performing that well, but on a person who can read character animations, you'd probably be better off paying attention to the character than you would be minding the indicators. I remember this. I remember having trouble with her because she like backs off. Each character performs differently, as I said. Sometimes you gotta learn how to cheese it a bit because she'll back off when you parry, making it harder to sneak in a counter attack or whatever. And again, there is no block button, so pressing back ain't gonna help you any. So yeah, and if you jump over and you actually overshoot your attack like that, it's not gonna do you any favors. So she's harder. She's harder to deal with. Definitely harder. I just stood there and took that like an idiot. That's not good. Not good. You've got endless amount of continue, so you can continue. There's no penalty for it. There's no score really to go against you or anything. There's no bad endings or anything that I know of. It's just you finish the game or you don't. Is basically it is. you basically stand your ground with this one because, like, you definitely got to counter this girl, Tomo. I am having major issues, but this is on normal. This is on the what I would equate to the medium difficulty level. So she's a little more aggressive. I actually played through easy mode without as much trouble. So there is definitely a spike in difficulty in this game. From difficulty to difficulty, they're more aggressive, more. That actually went through her. There is some issues with the animation hitboxes during certain things for sure. Things that should slice and things that should hit do not connect as they should, as they appear to. So there is that issue, and this is offline, so it's a game issue. It's not a dude. Couldn't block after that second, couldn't parry after that hit, so. Yeah, there's definitely some issues with the hits, so. Calling that for what it is. Gonna have to end this pretty soon. If I keep on dying, we're gonna get nowhere with the review. But wanted to show off that actually looked like it hit, but it didn't. It goes through her. It's just this will be the last one, and I'm gonna go into the menu, show you the other features, as it were, and try to conclude this review. Yep, that'd be it. Nope. Did you get a game over screen? The art style, like I said, is really good on this game, so it's impressive for what it is. It is a indie style fighter. It's not like your AAA, Arc System Works games. Oh, I wouldn't say. But anyways, you got your player versus player, your player versus CPU, and CPU versus CPU. That is the dojo. Oh, not the dojo. What am I saying? The versus. The dojo, which I just goofed up on, is actually a basic, and when I say basic, I mean actually very basic practice mode. There's nothing really to learn outside of the the character movement, the character spacing, the character reach. There are different attacks and whatnot. There is no setting up meter. There is no setting up parameters to that's all you got in the way of options. And that's all it is. You just got a character standing there just to whittle away at and try to get your spacing right. So it's kind of bad in the sense that you can't practice your pairing with this dummy. That is definitely not a good feature, good setup to have for a practice mode. Because you definitely need to practice parry in this thing. You got to get that down if you want to play. You can actually air dash a little bit, forward, backward. Usual Arc System Works things. Dash and say I want to swing. You can actually cancel out of a heavy with parry. You can actually cancel out of a heavy with the backdash. So that's just different things to utilize in your, you know, trick people. Try to get them to whip and punish. It like makes the fight more complex than just a straightforward slasher, type deal. See that they think you're gonna, swing heavy, and then you parry, and then you block theirs, and then you just retaliate, and punish them, whatnot. So yeah, that's the dojo, the practice menu, and very basic, like a lot of the game. Network, go into network. Network's pretty basic itself too. Dual match is ranked. It is ranked with a quick match, custom match, and creative match options. Quick match, pretty much you can't find anything. Custom match, you go in here, you can set the connect limit. I think 4 is the best, in regards to Arc System Works fighters. The higher it is, the better the connection. And you got your no limit or same country. Completion rate, higher. Actually misspelled that, hider, or no limit. And then you got the create a match, which you can, again, same things. Player settings. You can actually choose which character you want to play as. And that's that for the ranked. Player match, you can actually create a custom match with a room capacity up to 8, I think it is. Yep, 8. 8 players. You can set a connect limit on or off. Country. Password setting. If you choose yes, you press X on that. No, actually, that's the search. What am I talking about? You can actually. This is if you're searching for one with a password. And let's see, round settings up to 9. If you really want to go, make it really long matches instead of the short, quick 4 and done. Let me get something to drink here. Throat get dry. Okay, so create a match. Create a match gives you the room name's gonna be Otaku Dante. You let the player you're trying to connect with know the room name. You set the capacity. You set the the connect limit, the country, and the round setting. And then when you set it to password, you actually got to press X on password, and you can actually bring up the little type pad, the dashboard type pad thing, and you type in whatever password you want, and then you let your player know through the chat or whatever, and you can set up a room that way and actually connect with friends who have the game online if you want to do that. So that is a good thing. At least you can get some online out of it that way if you wanted to. And that's one way to do it. Also included is a player card. It includes the ranked matches, the totals, the wins, the player matches, totals, wins, and then it divides the totals and wins by per character, how many you have for each character, showing your stats. I don't think other players can see your cards, so I don't know why that is even a thing. I don't think they can see your cards, so I don't know. I guess it's for personal, like if you wanted to tweet it or something, I guess. Ranking, leaderboards, global. You got your, different ones, dual match, character, based on character, total wins. These are all ranked. Basically how many wins they got, and you can see a lot of Japanese players seem to have played this on launch, you don't see many what would look like American player names on here. So I don't even know if anybody bought this much in the States because there's hardly any in the within the 100 rank range that actually made place that looks like an American player. So I don't think this game was widely accepted in the U.S. and that's why it's a ghost town as it is. And that's one reason I hesitate in actually recommending it for the $17.99 asking price, unless you've got the local scene and you want to play this and they're going to actually have tournaments of this. Um, I think $17.99 is a bit steep, especially with the online being a ghost town like it is. The game's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I am. It's decent for what it is. It's a unique little fighter, gimmicky little fighter, in the vein of Bushido Blade, with sort of like a counter rock paper scissors type of mechanic. With a side option of basic to slightly advanced fighting game mechanics in the vein of games like Guild, like Arc System Works anime fighters. So it's just it's hard to recommend at $17.99 with it just being basically half a game, the local and the story. It's gonna get old after a while, but I don't know. I can't recommend it at $17.99 if you're banking on getting an extended play out of the network. It's just not viable in that sense. Where at lower price, I would consider it because you do have the option to actually host matches, player matches with friends, and you can get network play that way. You can still do local play, and you could still do the story. But aside from that, it's just a little steep of a price for a game like this. I think it's very basic in a lot of ways. It's cool but basic, lacking in network opportunities. And I think I'll leave it at that. We're 40 minutes into this thing. It's not quite an hour, which I'm glad I didn't extend to the hour limit I did the first time. We would have overblown it, just repeated myself over and over again. But unless you're really dead set on doing the local thing or setting up a network, convincing friends to buy it and hooking up with them on network via player match, I don't think it's worth the $17.99. Um, if you are though, if you like the local scene, and you could, even if you wanted to set up a little, host a little tournament yourself and do a little streaming, live streaming, or whatever, you could get something out of it that way. Um, as for me, it doesn't work for me. For a guy like me who banks on net play for actual competition, it just doesn't work. It's cool to a point, but it does get old. If you're just playing versus a computer, or you're playing story, and I'll leave it at that. I mean, it's up to you. Do you like local play? Do you prefer net play? Uh, you know, you just gotta weigh it for yourself, and I'll leave it at that. And I hope you enjoy the review. I hope you like the look at the game, and maybe you got something out of it. Maybe you didn't. But there is a review up on my blog, and you can read it if you like it. I'll go over pros and cons in that review as well. So definitely read that if you want to. Take care of yourselves, and I shall talk at you later.